All right, we are live. Not live, actually, just recording. Welcome to day 5 of the BeatStars Seminars, guys. Thank you for stopping in. I'm the founder of BeatStars.com, a digital music producer marketplace where music producers sell and license their music online to recording artists. We've got Dame Ritter of Funk Volume. Dame, welcome. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. So I think the one thing that a lot of Funk Volume fans don't know and don't really see is all of the hard work that you do behind the scenes. And I think it was really imperative to have a discussion to let people know that this is not just a joke when it comes to creating music. A lot of people just think it just it happens on its own. There's just some kind of magical machine that just pushes everything out to the masses and releases things at a certain time. But there's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears with a huge team. And with you being behind that, man, I think you can attest. But I think first is we don't really know who Dame is. I think we really want to know your story. How you got into music. How did you meet Hopsin? How did you start Funk Volume? And I think that's a real starter question. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, we started Funk Volume about 5 years ago, and for me, it wasn't really anything that I had in being in music. Wasn't really a career aspiration of mine. I was a fan of music, fan of hip hop. I went to school and graduated from UC Berkeley at the end of 2002. I was doing internal auditing, and then I worked overseas and did some more like risk management stuff. That stuff was super boring, so I decided to go to business school. I went to Stanford, got my MBA just to try to take 2 years to figure out what I wanted to do. After business school, I was a management consultant for Deloitte in Chicago. So I did that for about a year and got laid off. And that's when I had a conversation with Swizz, who's my younger brother, and Hopsin, who we went to high school with. So at the time, Swizz was in college, just kind of doing whatever to get by. He wasn't really passionate about it, but he wanted to really focus on music. So he needed some help just getting his music out there. Hop was in a different situation. He was actually signed to Ruthless Records, but they weren't really doing anything with him, so he needed help getting his music out there as well. So Funk Volume was Hop's idea. He came up with the name. He always had the idea of starting a label, something separate from himself, but that he can be a huge part of, but didn't really know how to kind of get it off the ground. So we started it originally as kind of like a marketing and production company. Because Hop was signed at Ruthless, we couldn't be a record label. But at the end of the day, like whether we called ourselves a record label or a marketing company, we needed to do the same thing and start building fans. So, we started with the Haywire project. And initially I still didn't think it was going to be like my full-time gig, but I helped them, put up a website, put some money behind it, help get the business incorporated, all the business stuff that the artists don't really, most artists, don't like to do. And we've just been grinding ever since. We're just heavily leveraging the social networks to go straight to fans to build our fan base. Because we see it very simply, man. As you grow your fan base, everything that you want to do within music, it usually opens up. So if you want to tour, you just got to have the fans to do it. If you want sponsorship, you just got to have the fans to do it. So anything you want to do within music, if you have fans, you can usually make it happen. So, yeah, we've just been grinding ever since and just slowly building. Every year just keeps getting better and better. We brought on Dizzy and Jaren last year, so we're just keeping it moving.
It sounds like, real organic, or just one of those situations of just the right time, the right moment, you being laid off from work. Do you feel that working in a corporate environment like Deloitte, which is a huge firm, kind of gave you some of the tools that you needed to help structure some of the business aspects that you had to do to build Funk Volume?
Right. Yeah, definitely. A lot of the experience helps, no doubt. Do you need an MBA or do you need this experience to start a label? No, definitely not. But I think it helped for a few different reasons. One is just kind of keeping structure an organization and a certain level of professionalism in-house that you don't typically see, or I haven't typically seen within the music industry. So I think that plays to our advantage. Um, so I think that, and just being more strategic about the things that we do, being more careful in managing our money so we're investing in the right things at the right time. Having someone analyze the numbers that we're doing, so like the likes, the follow, everything that we're doing, sales, and just making sure that we're allocating our resources in the right way, because we don't have that much money, so we have to make sure that everything we do when we spend money, we either get a return on our investment or it grows our fan base. So I think just the way we think about things is a little more structured, and we're making less mistakes as we go, because we're being more careful and more strategic about it. And I think having that background helps with that. But again, if you don't have this background, a lot of this stuff you can pick up and learn if you just kind of have the willingness to do so.
Right. Early on, when Hop was signed to Ruthless, how was that contract structured, and how did you guys get him out of that situation to be able to work with him? Since you said that initially it was just a marketing firm, and you guys, didn't really take it serious as a label because he was still signed. How did you guys get out of it?
So it was really just a waiting game, because his contract that he signed, it was a 3-album deal. However, after every album, there's an option, and it's kind of in the label's hands to pick up that option or not, Right. So if they picked up that option, they would have had to give him another advance. And they unsuccessfully released his first album. So they weren't going to they definitely weren't going to give him another advance, and the advance that they would have had to give him the second time would have to have been bigger than the first advance he received. So they had about a year after Gazing at the Moonlight was released to pick up that option, but they didn't. So we sent a letter in saying that he wanted out of the contract, and we really just had to wait a certain amount of days. I don't even think they ever responded, but
Got it. Hey, it all worked out. So in hindsight, you're like, okay, you've got the label, the company set up now, formally. You've got the artist set up. What initial steps did you have to take in establishing the label legally, I guess, in a sense? Let people know that, saying that you have a label, a lot of people just go out there and just throw out, I have a label. Yeah, I have a label. I have this artist under me. I got this artist under me. But never anything is actually formally done under U.S. government recognition and things like that. Did you set up a corporation? Did you set it up as a sole proprietorship? Was it what kind of company did you initially set up?
Well, Hop originally tried because before I came on, like he thought he had filed the paperwork, so he kind of like halfway filed the paperwork. So I'm always kind of coming behind Hop, cleaning up his mess.
Right.
He started the business as an S corp, so the paperwork was kind of like half finished. So I just finished it off, and we were S corp at first, but we've recently changed the structure to an LLC to have more flexibility. With corporation just comes more rules in the way that you're structured. So an LLC will allow us to be more flexible, especially as we grow and get into different businesses and things like that. I'm definitely not a guru on the pros and cons of each. But I think for a record label for our size, an LLC makes a lot of sense.
Right. Because it's a small private group, it's a small group of guys. There's no, you're not issuing shares of the company out to anyone else. So an S corp is really not necessary. So you said that when you first started the company, you invested a little bit of money, you put up a website. How did that first website look, and how many iterations of the website have you gone through until you've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, this is actually a great web relevant technology. This is something that we can build upon. How many times did you have to go through before you got that right?
Well, we thought the website was probably one of the biggest mistakes that we made initially, or that I made initially. I paid way too much for what we got. Like, it was cool though. Like, people liked the website. but I definitely overpaid for our first website, and we had that website for a while, probably up until like sometime last year. But I think a website is something that you constantly need to revisit, because the technology is always, being updated. The social networks, the things you can embed within your
Right.
website to make it more interactive. It's always changing. So we're constantly changing it. So actually, the website we have now, I don't even like, so we're in the process of updating it again, to make it faster, to just make it more interactive,
Right.
because before, like, the strategy was more like, meet people, because we didn't have any fans, so we had to meet people where they were, and that's on their social networks. So we made a big presence on Facebook. We were still messing with MySpace at the time. Twitter, now we're on Instagram, stuff like that.
Right.
But as we're growing a fan base, we feel like the home should be the website. So now we're trying to really make the hub the website, and that's what we'll have more control over that as well. Because Facebook has made it real obvious that that they own Facebook and they can do whatever they want. With the new changes that they've made, making us pay to promote posts or dictating what can be on the cover of the timeline cover photo. So those changes really just kind of wake us up to the fact that they can kind of take that away if they want to, and they can get as militant as they want with it. So it's really important for artists to diversify their presence on Twitter, Instagram, and Vine looks like it's pretty cool. I think that'll start to pick up more and more. But to get your email list up, so that you can continue to talk directly with your fans. So we're working on our website. We're trying to make our website more of a home. Hopefully we'll have an app in the near future. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is just flying in my head right now because I've gone through this, a pretty similar process with, the expensive, the expensive format that Facebook has put actual pages under, where you have to pay to actually have them see all of your posts, and where it's not, where Facebook is not allowing, all your posts to actually go to all your fans, and kind of sucks. So you have to, as a business and as a brand, like you said, you have to think about ways where there's no barriers and there's no limitations, and it's not costing you money to talk to your fans. And so, you do agree
Right.
that, having a website is probably the number one priority when setting up any type of company where you're directing people there.
Right.
You said you're making you're making your website more more plugged in to other other technology, like Facebook and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. How do you sell merch on the site? How do you sell physical goods? Is it done through another platform that you guys have partnered with, or is it something that you guys have specifically built out to sell your merch and sell your goods on the site?
So, like, are you talking specifically how it works, or how do we go about, like,
Oh, yeah.
marketing or everything?
No, not marketing. More of the functionality. Like, how do I click on an image of a T-shirt and I purchase it? What's the mechanism that's being used? Are you using a third-party company to actually fulfill some of the physical stuff? Yeah.
So the website was built off the WordPress platform. So the WooCommerce kind of plugs into that. There's a WooCommerce, and that kind of runs our store.
Got it.
So we use WooCommerce to display all the images and do the transactions and such. It's connected via PayPal. They run the credit card transactions, and the actual fulfillment of the orders. It used to be us. Matter of fact, there's a room right next to me over there where we had shelves, and we had the shirts on there, but as we started selling more stuff, it becomes a real pain, like a real pain in the ass. And people start getting mad when they're not getting their orders because it's hard to keep everything organized. So we had to outsource that piece. So we have somebody, it's a warehouse, I think it's in Compton actually. She has access to the back end of our site. All the orders go there. She packs them up, ships them out, and it's been a much a much easier process and a big help to me for sure.
That's awesome. See, that's just a testament to growth and scale, right? You just can't do everything on your own, right?
In the beginning, you got to get those mailers. You got to, you got to make those trips to the post office.
Right.
People want the stuff, so you gotta supply it for them.
Yeah, I agree, man. I forgot to ask you this early on, but we all know Hop now. Hopsin is this huge, internet phenomenon musician that tours the world, and we're seeing him throughout his growth period. But at what point, when you guys first started the label, or what record was it that actually you guys, was taken aback and said, okay, Hopsin is gaining a fan base fairly quickly here. He's tapping into social. Everyone's responding right. He's relating. At what moment, what record was it? At what time period?
I think all the records, like they were, even when we released Haywire, that gave me a lot of confidence that we were going to do well, and it wasn't, the numbers weren't impressive at the time, but like when I read through the comments, it wasn't, one, people took the time to comment, but two, like the comments were like, these guys are the best, these guys are my favorite rappers, and it wasn't just like one or two times. Like I always tell artists, like, don't read too much into any individual post, because your head can start going somewhere else, just off of one post. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about repeatedly, just and we kept seeing the numbers go up. So even on the Haywire project, they had the videos to Bad Motherfucker and Lucifer Effect. Everybody responded positively to that. And then when Hop started doing the videos for his Raw album, the Killer video, that's probably still my favorite video. Sag My Pants. Sag My Pants was a big record for him. Hop just talking shit. People love it. He's kind of controversial. So I don't know if it was any one record, but to constantly see the growth, that's what kind of gives us the confidence that we're headed in the right direction. So, to drop the Haywire project, it do well in terms of number of downloads. The videos do well. Finally getting out of the Ruthless deal and dropping the Raw project, and seeing, exponential growth in that. And then we got to a point where we were able to tour off the Raw project. And then after we got off tour, the Illmind Hopsin 4, that went to a whole nother level. Then he did the collab with Tech Nine and B.O. So it's a constant process of like building on small wins, and that's why I always write that on our Facebook page and on my personal page, because that's essentially what it is. It's not like you're not just gonna keep working. Oh, success! Like, nah, it goes like this. Might go back a little bit, down a little bit, whatever. But then when you start hitting your stride, it should be exponential. And that's what it was.
How important do you think the videos were to accompany the music at the time, whether it was through Haywire or the album Raw? Like how did you think the videos were a huge factor in the growth?
For sure. Like I wouldn't, if you can't put out a visual to your project, then I wouldn't even put out the project. Like, people want to see, who's rapping. They want to see, how you move. They want to see what you look like, what you're wearing. Everything is very visual. More and more time is being spent on YouTube. So, the visuals are just, to me, is just as important as the music online. So like I said, you definitely have to do, I would encourage, if you could do a video to every song, like it makes sense to do a video to every song. Even if it's not the best video, even if you just rap the song on the same quality you're looking at me now, that would do better than if I just post a picture of the song on YouTube and the song plays. Like, if I just rap my verse right now, well, not me, I don't rap, but you know what I mean.
Spit a verse.
Nah. But yeah, it's visual. Like, people want to get to know you. They want to see you. So
right.
Visuals are crucial.
You mentioned that YouTube is so many people are watching YouTube, and I think YouTube just put out some figures that 1 billion unique monthly visitors are actually on YouTube, and 6 billion hours of video are being watched on YouTube. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
huge platform. You know, a huge platform for discovery. For it's if you want to compare it to anything, it's the biggest music platform in the world. You know, and now that they launched YouTube paid channels, do you think once your brand has gotten to a point where you feel like you know, you've gotten your fan base, you're doing well, now it's time to monetize the videos outside of just advertisement, but actually having a channel that is more you know, in depth and more in tune to, you know, some of the daily lives that, you know, the artists are putting in, other than just music videos and things like that, where you're charging a monthly premium. Do you see Funk Volume getting into that business at some point?
Possibly. I don't know. I mean, they're doing a lot of interesting things with YouTube. There's going to be a lot of opportunities, you know, through YouTube over the next few years. So I would encourage artists to learn as much about YouTube as possible. Grow your YouTube presence. Like really focus on it. Really focusing on encouraging people to subscribe to your channel. YouTube can be a very significant revenue stream, and that's something that we didn't have, you know, or artists didn't have 7 years, 8 years ago, or whatever. But it's going to become an increasingly more important revenue stream and platform for exposure. So, you know, it's something that you know, Hop just kind of naturally focused on in the beginning because he loves putting out videos. But it's definitely something that we're focused on, and it's top of priority to continue to grow our YouTube presence.
Yep, absolutely. Um, Physical CDs. You know, we don't see. I mean, there hasn't been many Funk Volume releases yet, so we don't see many physical CDs in actual stores from Funk Volume. But is that something that's on your radar? As it's still a pretty viable, you know, business selling actual CDs.
For sure, and I think, you know, this year that there's a few things that we're trying to accomplish. Like every year we're trying to accomplish something new, and this year, you know, that's actually one of the things I'm doing now is sorting through, you know, our distribution options and the people that have reached out to figure out how we want to distribute, specifically Hop's album and everything after that. You know, because we've definitely gotten to a point where Hop deserves to be in stores, and we've gotten a lot of offers, but we're just trying to figure out, you know, what makes the most sense for us. People still buy CDs, and our fans specifically, you know, they still buy CDs. I mean, we're at shows, they buy CDs, you know, online. The pre-orders do well. Jaren's album is you know, people can pre-order it now, and it's doing
Right.
well. You know, so I wouldn't say that, you know, CDs are irrelevant, but
Right.
so yeah,
There's still a
it's
market for high quality audio.
yeah, for sure. Especially if you put out a good CD, a good whole CD.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah,
I just saw Jaren's video today for Chevys. No, wait, what is it? Cadillacs and Chevys.
Cadillacs and Chevys. Yep.
Oh man,
Yeah.
brilliant video. That guy's so I don't know what the word is, but he does draw you in. Definitely draws you in with his personality, his charisma. When I saw you in Oakland, I said that kid right there. He's got so much passion. Like he really is that person on stage. Like he's really living it. That's, you know, he really wants to put on a show for everyone. He's an entertainer, and you know, really
Yeah.
appreciate his work. What do you think about Jaren? Are you really excited about him? Do you think his, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
you see him going this way?
I'm super excited about Jaren because I mean I'm a fan of all the guys, and you know, that's not a requirement to be a Funk Volume artist, but like I'm blessed to be able to say that I am a fan of all the guys, you know, and as you get to know them, you know, you become even more of a fan because they're just real good dudes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but every time we announce a new artist, or every time we have announced a new artist, that artist receives a lot of negative criticism,
Mm-hmm.
and I like to see that. You know, I like to see the negative criticism. Number one, it just creates a lot of activity on our page and it gets our page popping, so that's cool. But when we see negative feedback, that lets me know that we're we're reaching a new demographic. Like maybe our current fan base doesn't like this artist, and that's okay. Like every artist that we bring on, I wanna reach different people. You know, so if our current fans don't like that artist, that's a good thing. Like to me, that's a good thing. You know, I know Jaren's dope. I got full faith in what he's doing. You know, people will see when the album gets released.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jaren, you know, all the guys, man, all the guys hold their own, and I can't wait for everybody to get at 100% because then people will really see what I know. So yeah, I'm excited.
You know what I think you do best when signing a lot of these guys? They're all very different, very, very different. They all have a certain intellect to them. You know, they all are. You could tell that they're all smart guys that know their shit. It's not just I'm just an artist and I'm just going to be, you know, I just can't wait. I have to make this hit record and I don't care what happens to me. I'm going to get lost in the industry and I'm going to lose myself and probably ruin my life. You could tell that these guys that you pick up are guys that want to work, that want to build their own brands, that want to feed their families, that are true artists to music, and they appreciate it. So I applaud you with that, man.
I appreciate it.
I'm gonna put you on the spot, man. Who did your first distribution deal?
Who did my first distribution deal?
Which company did you sign your first distribution deal? Even though you're not distributing music through them anymore, but was it through Ingrooves?
Oh, digitally?
Yeah.
Yeah, our digital. Our first. Well, at first, I mean, through Hopsin's album, we released through TuneCore.
Got it. Okay.
You know, and if
I was trying to toot my own horn and shit.
I know. Bob, but I'm saying, you know, I gotta let you know. Maybe the people watching right now, they don't have access to an Ingrooves. You know.
Right.
You know, so with Dizzy's Fuck Out Conversations album, you know, we did go through Ingrooves, but I'm gonna put you on the spot too. We didn't have a good experience. So we're no longer with Ingrooves. But
that's some of the things that as a label you're put in those positions where you have to, you know, figure out which companies that you want to partner with, who you want to work with. How do you like to structure, you know, your deal? Do you make everything non-exclusive so you're not tied into a certain company? Maybe you want to put, you know, Jaren with whatever, CD Baby or TuneCore, and you want to put a Hop with a bigger machine like Ingrooves or working with an Empire. You know, is it good to have relationships with a whole bunch of companies because different artists can probably at different stages in their careers can work better on certain companies?
No, I mean that's not really how I looked at it. Like we tried a few different things because I needed to experience it to see what the differences were. Like, you know, I guess let me take a step back because a lot of people may not even know the difference between like a TuneCore and an Ingroove. So TuneCore, everybody has access to it. It's like CD Baby. You basically pay $50 or $40 or $30 or whatever it is, and they'll get your music up on iTunes, all the major digital distribution, all the major digital retailers. You know, a company like Ingrooves or Empire Distribution, it's kind of a next level service where they're going to take a percentage of your sales. Like TuneCore doesn't take they just get the $40 a year, you know, and iTunes is going to take their 30%, you take your 70%, and TuneCore won't touch it. So with a digital distributor like Ingrooves, they're supposed to give you some additional marketing resources, kind of some PR resources, having conversations with the actual retailer like iTunes and trying to get you featured. When you go to iTunes, you know, you see all the features below or the banner above. You know, you're supposed to get access to that type of stuff for giving up a percentage of that 70% that comes to you. So it might be anywhere from 10, 15, 20%, you know. So that's supposed to be like your next level of service. And you'll get those companies reaching out to you, or you can reach out to them, you know, once you've proven, I think that either you're you know, you probably sold a few records on your own, or you just got a nice buzz online. You know. So, true. And I forget your question now. So what?
No, it's just you know, keeping your options open and having going through those experiences that you need to go through as a label to find the right partners. You know, TuneCore is not going to go and pitch you your content and get some of those retail placements.
Right.
But if you have a strong fan base and you have relationships with a lot of these retailers, you can actually bypass all of the other things that go along with a traditional distribution company and things like that, and actually function as your own distribution company by just using someone else's pipeline.
Right. I mean, I think like for us, I'm still learning distribution and what's really creating value, right? Because everybody that has a service will claim that they can do the most for you, whatever. But sometimes you need to try it and see, and then analyze that data. Did it work? What makes sense. So, hopefully we find a home. Like I want to find a home. And I don't want everybody all over the place. I want to find one home, and I want to, distribute it that way, and leverage the bigger artists to support the smaller artists, right? So, if Hopsin has a certain, amount of resources dedicated to his album, not to say that the same resources will be put to somebody that just started out, but they can leverage a lot of the resources, if we're, in a distribution situation, for the entire label.
Well, you guys have really stuck with the whole motto of independence and being independent and doing a lot of the hard work yourselves. Do you plan on staying independent? Is that something that you plan on wanting to consistently have, or is there an opportunity at some point you think to take the label to have a bigger situation?
I haven't seen anything that makes sense for us, so, I see us staying independent. The label as a whole, I feel like we'll stay independent forever. However, if it made sense for an individual artist and an artist had a different idea in mind and they wanted to pursue a major label deal, then I'm all for supporting that. Hopefully at that point, we just continue to be the manager of that artist, and I would still say that artist is a Funk Volume artist, but we would still have that relationship. That's how I see it playing out in my mind. Like we haven't started these discussions with anybody. There's no artist that is considered signing to a major, but I want to support, because each artist needs something different. They all have different visions for what they want to do. And if that's something that he or she wanted to do, then I'll ride with it and just, support it the best way I can.
What do you feel about artists? I'm not going to name any names, but there's some artists out there that claim they're independent, but they're actually being totally financed by a major label. One of the biggest artists out right now, Macklemore, and he's out there throwing out the independence and, on the cover of Billboard being independent, and really, I don't know. I don't think it's fair to me for him to go out and say that, especially for people that have true independent labels that really put in the and really are independent. Because he's totally being pushed by a major record label and being financed by one. I mean, there's no way in hell that he's getting that type of exposure without one.
Right. I mean, I just feel like the definition of independent is changing. I like Macklemore. He's definitely leveraging the resources of major labels. But he doesn't have a major deal.
So I guess you can still define it as independent then, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I would. People just need to know that there is a wide range of what's independent. I mean, it's probably going to get to a point where independent is just like if you have complete control over your music, you do your music 100%. Like that's independent, because that's.
All right.
I mean,
let's start relating more to to what these guys that are listening want to hear, and more the strategic side of how to build a label. How do you feel about free music and paid music? How do you structure the free music that you give away, and when do you know when it's time to put out an album?
Right. I mean, in the beginning, I feel like you gotta give your music away. I don't know what exactly the number is. I don't know how many fans you need to have or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, you know, in terms of putting out, so we put out Haywire, that was free, and then Hop put out Raw. After that, we didn't even think about putting that out for free because we just needed to make money. And you got to
Mhm.
test the market at some point. You got to test the waters and be like, okay, are
Sure.
people willing to pay, for my music? Because if they're not willing to pay for your music, then you're not really gonna be able to make a career out of this. Either
Right.
your music or your merch, or they gotta pay for something. Because it's the thing, to run a label or to make music is not cheap. Um, it costs money to be able to market yourself and things like that. So, um, I don't know what is like the number. So I would just experiment for your fan base. Like, maybe just put out a single and charge people, 99 cents or $1.29 and see how they respond to that. Um, but I think you definitely need to put out free music in the beginning, just to start building your fan base, get your social networks cracking.
Right.
Um, I wish I could identify an exact number, but I think
Mhm.
it's gonna depend on your type of fan base, and the music.
Right. What do you think is, the proper etiquette when trying to, partner with other sites like blogs and music sites to cover your music? How did you first approach it? Especially with a relatively unknown artist initially, with Hopsin, and getting people to want to like him, to like his story, to believe in him, and build something around him. Because I noticed that Hip Hop DX has definitely been there since the early times, and really developing his story as well along the way.
Uh,
What do you think was the right approach to getting a
Man,
relationship like that?
when I first started, like one of the first things I did is like I went to every hip hop site I could find. I got the contact information, I got their email address, and I would write to them, put a link to some video on Haywire, and be super professional about it. Use the proper tone and grammar and whatnot, and I wouldn't get any responses, right? So I realized that nobody's really gonna mess. Like, there's very few blogs that are just looking for raw talent. Like, that are just looking for raw talent and willing
Sure.
to support you and willing to put you out there. What they're looking for is people with fans, like people that get views,
Right.
because they need traffic for their site. So if you
True.
have fans, you know, if you have fans, the blogs will probably support you. So I stopped sending out those emails. I was wasting my time. I was like, look, man, we just got to go straight to fans, and we just hit social networks hard. Um, and as we started accumulating views, at some point, people started posting our stuff and reaching out to us. It's unfortunate because like blogs, it used to be the other way around.
Yeah.
Um, it used to be like blogs supported artists and they helped them create the buzz. Like the blogs helped them create the buzz. And not to say they didn't help with us, but it was like they didn't help until we could help them.
Mhm.
Um, so that's kind of how it is now, and it kind of sucks. Um, but it just is what it is. I mean, that's like anything in life, man. People are not gonna help you unless you can help them, it's understandable. It's kind of how you network.
Mhm.
You gotta have something that you bring into the table because you gotta look at it from their perspective too. Like, there's hella people trying to submit music. I'm sure that DJBoot.net gets a shitload of submissions every day, and they
Yeah.
can't just post your video.
DJ Z was saying 4,000 a month.
There
Just
you go.
just 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 yesterday. Yep.
And we're not even a blog, and I bet you we get that many submissions, like, to check
Right.
out their music. So,
Right.
you
Right.
know, um, we do what we can with our little feedback Fridays, but
Right.
yeah, yeah. So it's I wouldn't, I wouldn't say it's a waste of time, but I would kind of wait until you really have something. You really have something, and that it's proven. You
Right.
know, so that you can prove that you're giving them something of value.
I think that was the most, probably that statement that you made was probably the biggest value that you provided today, because the reality of business is, people really don't see what happens behind the scenes. There has to be a mutual beneficial relationship,
Right.
and I think that was the greatest approach is, say, hey, let's just go to the fans, because those people are not gonna block us. If they like the music, they're going to stick around. They're gonna invest into us
Right.
by being fans of our music, and that's huge. When you approach a site or a blog or anyone that's influential or someone that reviews music, they'll be like, okay, hey, maybe we should start covering this guy. This guy actually has a true fan base, a loyal fan base. He's not going anywhere, So
Right.
awesome.
So
What,
now it's
yeah.
go ahead. My bad.
No, I was just gonna go right into more of you've turned Funk Volume to not just a music company. You're doing a lot of things. I mean, you are a music company, but at the same time, you're focusing on other kind of other parts of of music with independent artists and aspiring artists by doing some contests, by doing some fitness advice, whatever it is, just relating to people and giving back to the music community, I think is great. How important do you think is that by doing promotional events like that for any artist to do while building their label or their social presence?
Right. Um, I don't know if it's that important, to be honest with you. Like, to me, that other stuff, it just kind of, it's helpful because it just continues to show who we are. Like, stuff like Funk Volume Fitness, we haven't even started with that yet. That's just a Facebook page, but that will be an actual business eventually, when I have the time to really dedicate towards it, because that's something that I'm passionate about. It's something that Swizz is passionate about. It's something that I hope Janet Hopsin get more passionate about, because, living a more healthy lifestyle is crucial, especially as an artist. If you're going to be out there performing, and really trying to endure the stress that's really, comes upon you as you get more successful. Funk Volume in the community, again, it's just something that I'm passionate about. Like, I've always been a part of the community, and to leverage Funk Volume, something that kids see as cool, makes the community service like that much bigger, because people want to get involved. Like, whether or not they want to get involved just because they like helping, or they like getting involved because they think it's cool, like, whatever, they're getting involved and they're helping, and I hope that we start changing the mindset of young people to let them know that it's important to give back to people that are less fortunate. So, is it crucial to getting your career going? Probably not, but if it's something that you're passionate about, I just feel like you can leverage music into doing other things, because we're not just music. Like, we have other interests. Like, Swizz has other interests, Hopsin has other interests, he skateboards, Dizzy has other interests. Like, we all have other interests, and I think that those other things just help people get to know you better, and maybe that creates a stronger bond with your fans because they feel like they know you better, and maybe it helps the music. But there's not necessarily a direct correlation.
Right.
But I'm sure that it does help. I'm sure that it does firm, like, the bonds we have with our fans, and really let them get to know us. So.
Yeah, this is the last question before we open it up for the listeners to contribute. How involved are you throughout the creation process of the music? Are you one of those owners of a company or founders of a company that that micromanages even the creative process of the music? Are you putting in your 2 cents? Are you contributing to that as well?
Not at all. Not at all. Like, because we built Funk Volume, like, the first day I met with Hop, man, I told him, I was like, look, I wanna label where artists feel comfortable doing what they want to do, because, like, the artists are proving now that what they do works. Like, if you go and you see 1 million views on a video, like, the artist probably just did that. There was nobody saying, like, look, if you put this person on the hook, you could probably get 1 million views, or if you wore this, or if you change your name to this. Like, all that stuff is that, I guess that's what the data tells, like, major record labels, they should do. But I think that we've been able to stand out because the artists are just being themselves and they're doing something that's different. So if I can't tell Hop how to do, what he's been doing his entire life. I have suggestions here and there. I might give him some suggestions for, like, a song topic, or an idea for a video or something like that. But at the end of the day, if they be like, dang, that idea sucks, then I just be like, all right,
Exactly. I think just organic. I mean, Funk Volume is just organic all the way around, man. That's what I love about you guys. All right, so let's open it up. You guys have any questions? Let me turn the forum to.
Are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
One at a time. Press star and jump on to ask a question to Dame.
Peace.
Hey, what's up, Doc?
Abe, how you doing, man?
Good,
like
man.
Good
to have you.
Likewise, appreciate this whole week. The parting is bittersweet, but I'm holding on like bats in the cave. Mr. Ritter, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
I appreciate everything, man. I just had a quick question, man. Like I said, all week long, I've been able to gain some valuable jewels of information. My question is, I'm probably, one of the Jurassic of people on this line. I was doing A&R work in the 90s, labels like Polygram, Polydor, Mercury. I did stuff with Uptown and even Bad Boy before Puff turned it into what it became. My question is, that was then and this is now. I took a lot of notes from everything that you're saying because my thing as I'm running a studio and building that into a label, and this whole, like you said, getting this music on these different sites, getting a lot of my artists heard, YouTube, Reverb Nation, all this stuff. I'm learning it within the last 2-3 years because I took a break from music. I was disgusted. My question is, after trying to come back, because, I got nephews that are doing this thing now, and they're like, Uncle Doc, you got to come back, man. You got to do this. And I was like, really, leave me alone. But, I don't want them to get jerked because I know what it is. I've been through it. So now I'm trying to play catch up. They talking to me in foreign languages. But I'm like, you know what? I got to learn this thing. So my question becomes, with trying to play catch up and be viable in this game as to what it is today, what would you suggest in regards to some of these internet places where I got to get my artist music up? I got to even some of the stuff that I'm doing. Where should I start initially? Granted, small budget, trying to increase, and not a lot of time, not a lot of money to play around.
Right. So I heard you say Reverb Nation. I wouldn't even visit that site. I've never seen anything positive come out of Reverb Nation. If somebody's listening and there has been something positive, that's great. But to me, Reverb Nation is just a community of artists. Like, there's no fans there. So you got to go where the fans are. So it's still Facebook, it's YouTube, and Twitter. So if you're trying to allocate your time, you definitely allocate it to creating good visuals, put on YouTube, and to spread them throughout YouTube, Twitter and Facebook, and just start building your fan pages. So on Facebook, all your artists should have a fan page, not just a personal page. They should have a YouTube page. They're doing their own Twitter, and they should be managing it themselves too, so it's authentic. And it's really them. So that's really where it starts, man. You just, people always look to me for like some kind of special sauce, but it starts with the music. You got to have dope music, dope visuals, and I don't mean expensive visuals. I mean creative and something different, that really gets people's attention. And then just start trying to build, fan by fan, and hopefully it starts to build.
Thanks, Doc. Hey, Sam, you're next.
Dame, what's up, man?
What up, Billy?
I'm doing good, bro. Not too much. I got a question. Do you know approximately like how much Hopsin originally invested into a studio to get the sound quality going, like in Sag My Pants, for example?
Not a lot. I mean, he since upgraded since Raw, but I don't know the numbers.
Guys, can you put your mics on mute if you're not speaking?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but I know it wasn't fancy stuff. And I know people have different access to money, and like $100 is a heck of a lot for some people. It probably means like a few $1,000s. But I'm not sure. It wasn't the best equipment though. He got a lot out of the little that he had.
Thanks, Dame. Yeah, I had to just put everyone on mute, and then we'll just select the next person that wants to ask a question manually, so we don't have everyone jumping in at the same time. All right, James, I'm going to activate you to ask a question for Dame. Give me a second. Go ahead, James.
Hey, how you guys doing? So I have a budget that I've been using monthly, and I've been seeing some results from these from my budget. I've been getting a lot of feedback and sales as well. My only thing is that I want to take some of my budget to, basically try to get more traffic and experiment with some different sources of trying to get exposure. My problem is there's literally an army of people out there that are offering services that don't exactly deliver. And so my question, I suppose, is what do I not spend my money on, my budget on?
Right. For artists, man, like, I always encourage them to spend all of their money on the whatever budget you have. Like, you have to spend it on the actual music or the creation of content in videos. Like, I wouldn't, all these services, we've never used any. We have a PR firm now, but that's different. I'm sure you're talking about these services that like guarantee you views or like or follows or whatever, or guarantee you plays on these internet radio stations, like all that stuff. We've never touched that, and I wouldn't encourage you to do it. Everything that any budget that you have, I would just use that to enhance the quality of your product. So whether that's making sure your project's mastered appropriately, making sure that the artwork is dope, and it's catchy and it catches people's attention, making sure that the videos are solid, or that you could put out in a decent amount of videos. If you have money after that, we've done some we've done some Facebook advertising. To, even though it sucks that they have to promote posts, you do need to get your fans to see your stuff. So it's not a complete waste of money. I mean, you need to get your stuff out there. But most artists that I've talked to just need to be focused on the music, getting their music to the next level, because that's really what starts everything. Everything comes back to the music, and the visuals.
Thanks, Dame. Bennett, you're up next. Can you unmute yourself to ask the question?
Can you all hear me?
Yep, we hear you.
All right, cool. Damien, I think I speak for everybody here because obviously we wouldn't be in this conference if we were not Funk Volume fans or didn't like what you all represented. Now, me living in the LA area, being an audio engineer, music producer, DJ, A&R worker for RCA Records in there as an intern, I see it from the biggest corporate level working for RCA. But one of the things that drew me to Funk Volume was the multifaceted level of each of your artists. I.e., Hopsin produces his own music, etc. What would be the way to go about finding other labels to work for or to intern at in LA or anywhere across the country, really? You guys are really the only label that I see that actually supports artists that deeply.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know how to answer that question, because I don't know. But usually finding a job is really just about building relationships. I got a cat that's helping me out now. I think he originally reached out to me in regards to doing some some clothing lines because he had his own clothing line. You know, and he just kept reaching out. He proved that he was kind of dedicated and passionate about what about what we were doing. He knew what we were doing. He was super in tune with everything that was going on. He was respectful. He was professional. You know, and eventually I was like, okay, well, you know, I do need some help now. And so you just have to figure out how to network, build relationships, you know, be patient, you know, understand that relationships take time to build. Jobs take a long time to, I mean, he still doesn't have like an actual job, like, you know, but this is kind of the road, you know, hopefully to get in there. You know, cause we're still a small label, you know, so it's hard. It's hard, like whether we're adding an artist or an intern or whatever, it's hard to, because I want to make sure that person has a great experience. I don't just want somebody in here just doing stuff. I want to know why they're doing it. I want them to ask questions. I want to be proactive, you know. So it takes time, you know, for a label like us to bring on anybody in any capacity. But other labels, I can't speak to them, man. I would suggest if you have a certain skill, if there's a certain skill that you have, you know, I would reach out to labels and say, look, you know, this is what I got going on. You know, I'm happy to do this for you for free, probably. You know, a lot of people want to work for labels. You know, I would encourage you to offer your services for free and try to add value. You know, try to add value right out the gate and prove that you can add value. And hopefully, you know, eventually, you know, they'll respond positively. But it's hard because you got to look at it from their perspective too. Again, they might be small. I don't know how the major labels work and operate. You know, there's just a lot going on. There's just many people reaching out probably for the same thing. You know, just be patient and professional, you know, but persistent as well. So, I mean, hopefully you found something in that rambling that made sense. But yeah.
Jigsaw, you're up. Jigsaw, you there? All right. Shay had a question in the chat for you, Dame. He said, "What is your process for searching for acts to sign onto the label? What is one of your secret weapons you look for?"
So how do we find them, or what do we look for?
Yeah.
Or both?
Yeah, both. Yeah.
I mean, we found Jaren and Dizzy on the internet initially. You know, I just like watching how people move. Like even if we find somebody, like we're not gonna reach out and be like, oh, join Funk Volume. Like I like watching how people move on their own. You know, because I feel like Jaren and Dizzy eventually they would have been successful. You know, so we don't really want people that need Funk Volume to get to that next level. We want artists that just want to be here and are just dope. You know, so what are we looking for? Obviously, looking for people that can really rap. We're looking for people that are themselves. We're looking for people that work hard, have a dope live show. No ego, willing to grind the same way we are. Understand the social networking, how important that is. Have good visuals. You know, look comfortable and confident on camera. You know, get along with everybody else. The chemistry is important. You know, so it's probably about a number of things, anywhere from 10 things, and it's hard to find that. It's really hard to find that, and we take our time, because we have to get it right every time. You know, we can't miss when it comes to bringing on an artist.
Thanks, Dame. I mean, how much longer do you think you have here? How many more questions you want to take? One or two?
I could do. Let's do three. Three will work.
Okay. Cool. Tyler, you're. What the hell?
Oh, there we go. Can you hear me? Let me turn stuff in. Okay.
Muted, and may unmute themselves by pressing star. These are muted.
All right, Tyler, that's not going to work, man. Yeah, go ahead and ask it in the chat. What's the question? Okay. Anybody next? Kevin from Atlanta. What is the best way to get a sponsor for a tour? Is it becoming common to pay a piggyback onto a nationwide tour or recoup money through merchandise and shows? Interesting question.
Wait, say that again?
He said, what is the best way to get a sponsor for a tour? Is it becoming common to piggyback onto someone else's tour and recoup money through merchandise and shows? Is that a strategy that Funk Volumes ever took?
No, we've never paid to get on any shows. I don't think we would, and I don't think we would get a lot out of it. It probably would just depend on whose tour it is, and how many people are actually going to be there, where you're gonna perform relative to the headliner. You know, if you're going on first every night and you only see 25 people, you know, in the crowd, you know, that's just stupid and a waste of money. If you're able to really rock out in front of a lot of people, you know, that could be beneficial, but I would imagine that would come with a hefty price. So yeah, I wouldn't suggest it. I wouldn't suggest it. I mean, if you got that kind of money, you know, then you should be doing a lot of videos. If you tapped out on videos and still have more money, then maybe it makes sense. If your live show is dope and you're supporting somebody that brings a crowd, you know, that you'll actually be able to play in front of.
All right, we got a question from Sorrow. He says, if an artist you want to sign has a manager already, does that create any challenges for you guys when signing them?
Yeah. So I manage them all except for Jaren. Jaren has his own management. You know, and they're good dudes. But I think going forward, you know, I definitely prefer managing the artist just because, you know, there's no chance of miscommunication. Like, I work directly with the artist, we move. Like, we just move. You know, there's not an extra conversation. You know, so I think it makes things easier. You know, I think it makes things a lot easier. But so that's what be my preference is to manage every artist. You know, and we're getting good at it too. Like, we're like the relationships that we have now, you know, we have so many more relationships now than we used to. And I can add, and instead of just being like that business head who keeps things in line and whatnot, like, I have access to people now. So I think we can serve as a good manager. I mean me. I still say we because I think, you know, Funk Volume's not that big yet. But yeah. But it probably would depend on the artist. Like, it'll just depend on the artist. You know, if we really want him to come on board and it just made a lot of sense, you know, I won't let that stop us.
Right. Now, Jigsaw is asking, how do you go about performing overseas, and how are you able to contact promoters? What would you recommend others do when trying to do the same, set up shows overseas?
They actually contacted us. Matter of fact, when we go to Australia, we'll be in Australia for our third time this summer. It's funny because that promoter was not a promoter. Like, he was a fan of ours, and like for that first trip, like, I worked with him a lot to be able to just kind of organize it and to make sure we got over there. So we actually turned a fan into a promoter, and he brought us out a second time, and he got better at what he was doing, and he's bringing us out a third time. You know, so we just kept building with him. So it's worked out. So I mean, that's probably not going to happen a lot, or maybe never, you know, for an artist, but you know, once your music starts getting bigger, again, it's just fan base, man. If you got a certain number of fans overseas, like if you go to your Facebook analytics and your fan page and you see that you got, you know, 500 fans or 1,000 fans in a particular city overseas, you know, I would just try to reach out to people and see. You know, you could look at shows that are happening in that city. You can see who's throwing them, and then just try to reach out to them directly and say, look, I got hella people in your city, you know, check out my music. Would you think I can come through?
Right.
And that might work.
Here's a question that's more technical. Do you fund, this is from GLX, do you fund artist productions in the studio, or is that the artist's responsibilities? Or does the artist come with the album already ready to go, or is Funk Volume assisting throughout the whole process of the album being created?
No, they have budgets now. We have a budget for artists. So we fund the production of the album. And you know, and similar to a major, we recoup it when the album gets sold. So no, I mean we want the album to be dope. So if you ain't got no money and you can't create a dope record, you know, quality wise, then you know we're not putting it out.
We have a lot of producers in the chat as well, man. This is the last question, and it's coming from me. How would you sell your beats online?
Oh snap! I would use this site. It's called sellyourbeats.com. No, I'm just kidding. BeatStars, man. BeatStars has been dope, man. They got dope technology. It's the smoothest platform that I've seen online to sell your beats. You know, if you go to myfunkvolume.com and you click on beats, that widget is a BeatStars app. You know, so yeah, I definitely I back quality products. You know, we don't get paid to say anything we say. You know, I definitely support Abe and BeatStars.com, and that's how he got me here talking to you guys. So it's all up.
Thanks, Dame. Appreciate it, man. Guys, it's been a crazy 5 days. We appreciate all of the panelists. Dame, thank you for taking out the time to really just get back to the community artists, man. It's been real dope to get these guys to come through and just, you know, gain some knowledge on how to present themselves next time and how to present themselves and partner with people. Can you share some of your I guess Twitter information or contact information for people to follow you and stay in touch with some of the wisdom that you drop on your social networks here and there?
Sure. My personal Twitter is Mr. Funk Volume. But I'd encourage people to follow the Funk Volume Facebook page and the Funk Volume. There's a contest page. We share a lot of information. But yeah, My Grandma's Basement, Jaron Benton's first Funk Volume album, June 11th. There you go. That's more important.
Get Jaron's album, guys, man. If you haven't seen that, the last video he just put out, man, you guys will flip out. It's so fucking funny. This guy is hilarious. Support Funk Volume. They're a great label, great bunch of guys. Again, thank you, Dame, and everyone have a great night.
All right.
Peace.